My name is John Bernieri. I live in Greenwood Lake. I'm an actor, I'm a writer, and I worked at Windows on the World 1976 to 80, and then again from 1996 until they went down, the towers. So my connection with firemen and Fireland was that when you're working up at Windows on the World and you see how vulnerable you are and can be, you have a real intense respect for these guys that look like, I call them like ninjas. They always came up whenever there was the slightest little problem. And I was telling the story just inside about the one time where the blackout happened in '77. And we all were going down. And as the further down we got, the more intense the group of people were. And so that all of a sudden, we saw these giant firemen with their picks and their axes and everything coming up the stairs. And there was one instance, I was telling Chris, which you're going to talk to now, that there was one instance where I just brushed by a fireman and he was like a nose away from me and he stared at me like, get out of my way. And I'm like, you're going up and I'm going down? And that image was like a tattoo in my brain that I didn't really realize I had until 9/11 happened. And when 9/11 happened, the first thing that went into my brain and I couldn't get it out was that image of the firemen going up and us going down. Now, I got a million stories about Windows on the World. In fact, I got a book, 111 stories. But about all the beautiful things that you could see from up there. But the most intense, the most intense stories I have are these firemen who always seemed to be there when they had to, and they appeared suddenly all the time. It was amazing.
And, tell us a little bit about Fireland.
Fireland, I had the pleasure of playing Lieutenant Ian, and he is an FDNY trainer that was responsible for taking care of these guys, the plebes, as they enter the whole industry of, being a fireman. And it starts off in the 90s. So 9/11 didn't really happen yet. But with that in mind, this guy knew, and me as an actor, I knew damn well that this was going to happen, and this could happen. And if these guys weren't in shape, they'd be in big trouble. And that also that they were the sacrificial ones to everybody. They went up knowing, some of them, Chris was just telling me, knowing they weren't going to come down, trying to get other people down while they were up there. So Fireland is like this impression that everybody should have about really what a fireman does, especially in a metropolitan area like that, when you're going straight up a quarter of a mile up in the air and you don't know what the hell else is going to happen. And Fireland gave a very, very good image and impression of how not just dedicated these people are, these firemen are, but how they call each other brothers. Inside, I heard the word brother a million times just now, talking to Chris about this book and about your story. They were brothers, and they are brothers. They were fallen brothers, they're living brothers, and it's a society of these people that are put on this earth just for us. And so it's a service that we can never, ever, ever, ever understand. But one we should really try to appreciate, I think.
So if anybody wanted to get a better understanding of the FDNY and what it's like to be a brother, what would you say about the book?
Well, that's the whole point. And that's the whole point about Chris's book, and that's the whole point about the story and the show. They're silent heroes. And I think it's personally, I think it's wrong that it's silent. I think we should all know all about these guys. I think every kid on the planet should have a picture of a fireman on his wall, because those are the heroes. You know what I mean? These are the guys that go in and they risk it all. So, yeah, it's very important. In fact, it's very important that we tell kids about who these guys are. It's very important that I tell all these stupid stories that I tell, because it's very important that, well, everybody should know not just about the firemen, of course, and about 9/11, about all, that whole, it's like an era it's fading, and we have to bring it back and color it in a little bit more and make sure people remember what the hell happened and who these people are and why they're so important.
And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, how would somebody reach you?
Well, call my agent. No. You could just get Bernieri for Navy is my email address. BERNIERI, the number 4, Navy, NAVY @yahoo.com.
John Bernieri, thank you so much.
Thank you.